Hey, what is up, baseball fans? Welcome to a video where today I'm going to be talking about 5 players and some honorable mentions we should be looking out for at the Blue Jays spring training. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for fast baseball news and other baseball content so you don't miss out on any of it. Starting off with the first player I'm going to talk about is Rowdy Tellez. He's playing for his job this spring training. He's going to be splitting time with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at the DH or first base spot. If he plays DH, he takes some playing time away from other players, but I'll get into that later on in this video. I feel like he has all the tools to be a very good slugging first baseman or a DH, and I feel like the Blue Jays want to develop him into a better player, into a slugging first baseman who can hit a lot of home runs, whether it be at the Rogers Center or in Buffalo or in Yankee Stadium or over the pesky pole in Boston. I feel like he has a lot of tools, and the Blue Jays just have to harness it. He was doing pretty good last season until he got injured, so I think the Blue Jays are going to try to work with him to get him back to where he was. So he's definitely one person to look out for this preseason, so I would watch out for him. Moving on to our next player we should look out for is Randall Glover. He is making $10.5 million, and last year he didn't play anywhere as good as that salary would make him sound. He needs to prove himself this spring training to prove himself that he can still perform at a good level that got him that contract and that he still deserves playing time at the DH spot or in right field. Right now or last season, he didn't prove that he could play at that ability, so he needs to prove himself this spring training or else he could be dealt to another team. Going on to number 3, Alex Manoa, one of the Jays' best pitching prospects. He could be very good as a reliever, a shutdown arm if the Jays wanted to use him, but they're determined to use him as a starter. He has lots of tools, a wipeout slider, a good fastball, and he's developing his changeup. His main goal this spring training is just to get his feet wet to face some better competition than in the minor leagues. So I feel like don't expect him to be on the big league roster. Expect him in the future unless they trade him. But right now, it's just to get his feet wet. And I think if the Blue Jays develop him properly, he can be a really good starter. That brings us to our number 2 person that we're going to talk about, Austin Martin, the Blue Jays' number 5 overall draft pick last year in the draft. He was considered to be a steal at number 5 in the draft, so that proves that there's lots of high hopes for him, and the Blue Jays have high hopes for him as well, using him as a third baseman, a shortstop, or in the outfield. He has some speed, he has some pop, he makes contact, he's good defensively. He's an all-around good player with lots of tools to use, and I think the Blue Jays, if they develop him right, he can become the next all-star on the team. And again, his job this spring training is just to get his feet wet. Not much more there, just to get him used to some better competition, start him off in the minors, and he's going to be knocking on the door within the next couple years. Going into our number 1 person to look out for in spring training is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. This offseason, he's been training really hard. He lost a lot of weight. He's developed his skills, and I think he wants to show off those skills to everyone to show that he is the player that the Blue Jays thought they got. And I think he definitely has the talent. He has the ability to do it. This year he's coming in more prepared than last year, and he has a chip on his shoulder to perform better, and I think that he will. He's been putting in lots of work. I think the Blue Jays are going to use him as a big piece in the team, whether it be at first, third, or DH. I think they can use him anywhere, and I feel like he's going to have a breakout year this year. Let me know in the comments what you think Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going to do. Moving in to some honorable mentions, we have Kirby Yates. The Blue Jays signed Yates to a 1-year deal this offseason. He's been a shutdown closer in the past for the Padres, but he was injured the last year, so when he is really good, he is really good, but he also deals with injuries. So if he can stay healthy, he's definitely someone to watch out for. This spring training will be sort of like a warm-up for him just to get back into the groove of pitching, and I feel like that's good for him. Moving on to our next man, we have someone similar to Yates, Tim Meza, who's coming off of Tommy John surgery. He's pitched with the Jays before, but he got injured, so he went into free agency, signed a minor league deal with an invite to spring training. So I feel like if the Blue Jays can use him as a shutdown lefty, he can be really good. He's not even that old anyways. He's still in his 20s, so he still has time to get better and, develop into the lefty that the Blue Jays thought they got. Jordan Grisham, another prospect to look out for. He's a shortstop. The Blue Jays have high hopes for him. He won't be in the MLB this year, but next year he'll probably be knocking on the door. He has a lot of tools. He hasn't played a lot in the last 2 years due to injury, and the shortened season, the pandemic, and the minor league situation. So definitely someone to watch out for. This is just to get his feet wet as well. The Blue Jays have a lot of talent in their infield, but they also have Bo Bichette, Kevin Biggio, Guerrero, and Tellez, so there's not much room to really put them. So maybe Groshans could be used as a trade piece in the future. Moving on to our next player, we have Joe Panik, who recently just stayed with the team. He re-signed a one-year minor league deal with an invite to spring training. He's the lefty bat that the Jays needed, and he can play anywhere in the infield. Depth move that the Jays needed as well. And he's one of those guys that gets the job done no matter what he's doing. So a very good pickup for them, and he's going to be competing for a spot. If he makes the team and he's playing third base, that would mean that Vladdy would have to go to DH, and that would push Randall Glover out, which rolls back into the whole thing of whether the Jays should trade Gritchett or not. There's just not a lot of room for him, especially if Panik or other people make the team. Jonathan Davis is another guy that's going to be knocking on the door this year. He wants to get that fourth outfield spot. They just got rid of Derek Fisher, and they invited Forrest Wall to the spring training. So the Blue Jays are looking at other options in case Gritchett doesn't perform, and just to get the best depth as possible. Moving on to another pitcher for the Jays, AJ Cole, who signed a minor league deal this offseason after the Blue Jays non-tendered him. He actually had a 79% base stranded rate last year, so he strands runners on base. He actually pitched really well last year with the Jays with around the 3 ERA, so the Jays could definitely use him as a guy to get out of trouble. He just has to pitch at the same level. Again, the confidence is meh for the Jays, but if he performs well in spring training, he'll definitely make the team, and he's someone that the Jays need when he's pitching well. So I definitely think he could be a big part of that bullpen if he makes the team. Moving into one of our final people, and I say final because I have some other guys to talk about who aren't on this list, is Tanner Roark. Tanner Roark makes $13 million this year, and last year, I'm going to be honest, he was horrible. He gave up 6 home runs in one game against the New York Yankees, which you just can't have. His ERA was very high. It was near 7, so he needs to get back on track. He needs to perform at the same rate that got him that $13 million contract, and if he doesn't perform, say he puts up another 6 or 7 ERA, I think the Blue Jays should just tank his contract, DFA him, or trade him, and take on 90% of the salary. I just don't see it working out. Hopefully he can turn things around, but I just don't really see it happening. Moving into our next guy who's not on this list, but I just want to talk about him, is Nate Pearson. He has already gotten his feet wet, and he was actually really shut down in the playoffs last year for Toronto, but he can warm up and get back into his groove. He's going to be on a pitch count this year, so he's not going to pitch the whole season, but the Blue Jays can definitely get him ready and turn him into that shutdown guy eventually. I have high hopes for Pearson. That's basically it. The Jays have some other names to look out for. Let me know who you are most excited to see in this preseason. I would have to say I'm most excited to see Vladdy perform, losing all that weight and developing, at a very fast rate. I'm very excited to see him. So let me know what you think and who you want to see down in the comments. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any baseball content or news. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next one.